For plebs, by plebs, dropping the Bitcoin only signal. Pleb Underground. Welcome everyone to the Pleb Underground.
Pleb Underground, always a cappella. Walton, Phil, joined by a lady, not a fella. The weekly show, not a mystery clash. Bitcoin, a system of decentralized cash. It's a living machine, no automated teller. Speaking in public can heighten your fears, but open debate springs brand new ideas. This week in one space, Magoo made George Gammon cry, but internet trolls will be here until pigs can fly. A limerick, it's Friday, go grab the beers. No macro bro has got your back, bro. FUD's a method of attack, yo. Do you really know Murphy's Law? You'll be trading places, delirious and raw. Life's not a game, not tic-tac-toe. Ordinals, cardinals, 0 Aleph. Today we welcome ProofOfSteph. Life's a beach by Bitcoin from Peach. I'll be shouting fuck shitcoins until my very last breath. Welcome back, guys.
Awesome freaking rhyme. Sorry, limerick. Awesome limerick, Walton. Welcome back, everyone. It's the Pleb Underground, and you heard it correctly from Walton. We've got ProofOfSteph, fellow Bitcoiner, CEO, and co-founder of Peach Bitcoin. ProofOfSteph, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. All right. Without further ado, we are going to dive into the numbers.
Yeah, the numbers, of course, brought to us by TimeChain Stats. And please also check out TimeChain Calendar for a new way to browse the TimeChain. Phil, what do the numbers look like this week?
At the time of this recording, the block height is 777,045. The Bitcoin price, 24,930. Total public lightning capacity, 5,332.44. Moscow time, 4,010. And the chain rewrite days, 761. Guys.
So let's start with Moscow time, because that's the most important number to discuss, right? Because everyone likes to talk exchange rates, and that's the right way to look at it. So let's start with that. I remember it wasn't that long ago when you could get 6,000 sats per dollar, and now it's dropping. It did actually drop below. I think it's now just popped above 4,000 sats per dollar. So you're getting a third less sats for your dollars. Sounds like something bad is happening, guys. What is going on? What's happening?
3 weeks ago, man. 3 weeks ago, we were saying 6K sats, right? And now here we are.
I also remember the time when it went below 2K, and we actually almost felt like it was never going to go above 2K sats per dollar. So yeah, I mean these numbers are still you're getting a lot of sats for your dollars. Keep buying the sats, right?
Steph, how you feeling? How you feeling about this? Well, how does that number make you feel? The Moscow time
Well, at
number?
the moment, looking at Peach Bitcoin, I can see that for €1, you get 4,365 sats. So it's funny that you're mentioning the number of sats.
I actually think
because that's how Peach Bitcoin has been built. It's like really like sats are the standard on Peach Bitcoin. So you're buying a fixed amount of sats. So as you say, the amount of sats that you can get per euro or per dollar is super important.
Totally agreed. Sorry, Walton, what were you going to say?
I think that's really good. I was thinking actually now could be a good time for us to actually talk a little bit about Peach. Certainly, how I was actually asked the question today from a client in my fiat business about like how they could buy Bitcoin, and it's a really interesting question because I think there's so many different ways that you can acquire Bitcoin. And so many different opinions that are very strongly held on how that should be done. KYC and AML fundamentally do not protect the end users like most regulations. They actually just prop up sizable businesses that are able to afford the appropriate lawyers to enable this regulatory moat, which is what a lot of this stuff is about. Ring fencing industry. It's wrong. It doesn't help the end user, and ultimately it undermines privacy, something that should be a fundamental human right. Now, my understanding is that Peach is a KYC free exchange. Can you talk to us a little bit about your opinions on KYC AML and why maybe why you chose to go this route for Peach?
Right. Well, my opinion about KYC AML is that it shouldn't exist at all. Like, I want to live in a world where there is no KYC AML at all, ideally. Why did we choose to go this way? Well, because I believe this is the right way to go. Also because I just personally do not want to have the responsibility of, having all the documents of everyone and holding the personal information of everyone. Like, why should I do that, Well, then obviously to some extent, because we need to provide liquidity into Peach, so the professional sellers at some point will be allowed to KYC into Peach in order to sell more, because this is their job to sell Bitcoin. But yeah, we decided to go like peer-to-peer non-KYC for those reasons, because first I didn't want to hold the users' funds, neither the user Bitcoin or the user's fiat money at all. So I didn't want to have a fiat bank account and hold the money. So yeah, the job of Peach Bitcoin is just basically to connect buyers and sellers together and allow them to stack sats.
So I'm just we're just here on,
and euros are your primary shitcoin that people exchange for Bitcoin, is that correct?
Right, so all the European currencies basically. So Euro, GBP, CHF, and at Open Beta we're adding all the European currencies. Yeah, all the others.
So that's EU, UK, and Swiss cuckbucks all round. If you guys have those, you can find a match on Peach Bitcoin, because that's how it works, right? You essentially make an offer to buy some amount of Bitcoin, and can you choose? How does it work? Does it get, as in you put up say a pound offer or a euro offer or a Swiss franc offer?
No, it's at the standard. So you're selling a fixed amount of sats, and as a seller you choose the fiat premium or discount that you think your sats are worth, and you just publish your offer and you kind of wait to get a match, because the peer-to-peer market is just basically a matchmaking marketplace, right? That's what it is. So what we've done with Peach Bitcoin is that we kind of try to optimize the UX for matchmaking marketplace, so making the matchmaking much smoother and easier for the users. And yeah, then we obviously build that with a lot of privacy features in mind. So there is no registration on Peach like your account. Your Peach account is basically a Bitcoin public-private key pair, and all chat messages and payment data on Peach are actually signed by your private key. There is that. What else? There is our escrow solution that we have. So we have a 2 out of 2 multi-signature escrow with the seller with a time lock of 4,220 blocks. And after this amount of blocks, this 2 out of 2 multi-signature becomes a single signature for Peach, just in case of dispute. So that's the only place in Peach Bitcoin where actually Peach we kind of act as an intermediary, but because we do need to handle the disputes, right? In peer-to-peer, this is the tricky things to handle, disputes between peers, like for malicious actors. We also do have a strong reputation system to try to mitigate that.
What's been some of the challenges building the platform that you've had? Like anything like regulatory or anything along those lines? Because I figure since you're matching people up, and it's, to me, it kind of sounds like you guys are doing some serious competition to BISC, because in this particular case, like you could just
I was thinking more hodl.
Hodl?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
hodl.
This is pretty sweet. So
Exactly.
I'm sorry, go on.
Yeah, totally.
But it's mobile first, right? Whereas hodl, I think, is more web-based.
Web-based.
correct. So a lot of things here. Yes. So first, BISC is
Yeah,
like
I'm a
the
noticer.
ideal world because BISC is like completely decentralized. BISC is not a company. BISC is a code. Okay. Pitch is a company, but the order book is decentralized. That's the main difference with BISC. So indeed, we're more competing directly with like HODL. Well, local Bitcoin has announced that they are shutting down. So HODL, who else? Paxful, these kind of companies. And I actually seen today on HODL Telegram group that they're actually working on a mobile application because, I mean, nowadays it just makes sense for the mainstream to have a mobile application, right?
They don't have a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, like, let's be honest, you know, like they don't have a choice. I mean, I noticed that with other, there are other stacking apps out of the US, and like they didn't choose to have an app right away. Instead, they, you know, 2-3 years just had a website. And if you ask me, that's a waste. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Not a waste, but you know, like, I mean, this is where they started. I guess they started. I mean, they started like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, and the market was not, you know, how it is today. So I guess step by step, and you know, if pitch helped them, I mean, if pitch like is kind of driving a little bit the category, not driving the category yet, but like pushing the category forward or helping to push the category forward, then we are very happy. Yeah,
I love the fact that it's KYC free. You guys are honestly, you're doing something good because, as you know, that is a very contentious point in Bitcoin. The KYC battles never end, and the privacy advocates and all that good stuff.
Question, and this is certainly not my area of expertise, but how does the fact that it's an app being downloaded from a centralized store like iOS, where Apple have the details of who's downloading what app, is there any way of kind of tying together do you see what I mean, your like identity through the app store kind of aspect of it?
So I don't know, it depends what are your settings on the app store, I guess, obviously, but in Pitch, to create an account, you don't need to give any information whatsoever, like zero. You basically download the app and your account gets created. Like you get your Pitch Bitcoin key pair, and that's all. That's the only thing that's happening, you know, to create an account. So on our side, we're not asking the user to give us any information, so there is nothing that could leak. And as I say,
and the key is stored encrypted within the app. How does it work? Something like that.
Correct. And the account, the Pitch account, is actually stored on the person's device. So if you do not back up your Pitch account and if you do not save your password,
I did this once actually.
Voila. We cannot recover the account for you because we do not have your password. You know, you save your account on your device. So not your password, not your Pitch account.
Not your password, not your Pitch. You heard it here first. Okay. So any more numbers, Phil? Or should we have a look at some of the news this week?
Yeah, before we move on to REKT, let's quickly take a look. We got to have some kind of, right? We got to have some kind of numbers. You know what? This week was Valentine's Day, right? Yeah. For the people who enjoy the Hallmark holidays.
Yeah, I crushed it.
Yeah, you crushed it. All right, so take a look, right? Documenting BTC. Hold on, here we go. All right, documenting BTC. Let's take a look at the fiat exchange historical price. We love these kind of numbers. Take a look. The price of Bitcoin on Valentine's Day, 2009. Sorry, not price. The fiat exchange rate.
No, I know, but I'm saying look at the last 2 years. I'm saying right now it's half price.
Oh, half price. Sorry, I thought you said not price. Sorry, my bad. But yeah, man, it is. Look, we're getting a deal right now. But take a look at that, you know, and this is very reminiscent to me. Okay, this is very reminiscent to me of that chart that somebody once posted that says, "Don't pay attention to Bitcoin's tops. Pay attention to Bitcoin's bottoms." And
yeah, it's the same is true of Valentine's Day.
But yeah, so look, I mean, if that doesn't make you bullish and you know, happy around the fake Hallmark holiday, I don't know what will. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Does that make you bullish, not bullish?
100% bullish. I mean, I personally don't even really look at the price, to be honest.
I just bring it up for the show.
Yeah, no, I mean, like at all. Like maybe I will look at the price when we'll be at all-time high again. Until then, I'm just focusing on pitch.
Yeah, you see, this is and
So
it's
I'm intrigued actually by that, because how does Peach make money, and how is it's not affected by the exchange rate? I mean, surely the number must be of some interest to you.
Right.
No?
Well, the numbers are of interest because when numbers go up, the number of users, the number of people who want to actually buy and sell Bitcoin go up. So in that sense, yes, it is of interest. And how Pitch does make money? Well, we're taking a percentage out of each transaction from the buyer.
very.
So you're taking the fiat. You're taking fiat from buyers. Or
No,
not?
no, 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 no. We're taking sats. I told you, it's as the standard here. We're
So
taking we're taking like 2% out of the buyer. So when the escrow.
Oh, sorry, because the escrow, you see, it's split basically. I've got you.
Absolutely, yes.
This launches in, what is it, 16 days? We're gonna post a link to the Peach. We're gonna post a link to the Peach app, obviously, in the show notes. It's look, at the end of the day, we need as much of this in this space as possible.
Wait, it hasn't launched yet. I've already got it.
Well, yeah, you maybe had the beta.
Exactly. So we will still be in beta, but we will be in open beta. So building takes a lot of time, guys. So we had like 5 months of closed beta, with still like a few thousands of users, like and quite a good amount of Bitcoin traded, like, which was good. And now we're opening up the beta to a larger audience, to the public.
Yeah, I did think I think I've put a bid there, but didn't actually complete a transaction yet. I think as the numbers, it's like any of these decentralized or more peer-to-peer type platforms. As the number of users build, the quality of experience builds, because there's more of a market, and then that draws in more people, etc., etc. So best of luck with that.
We are moving on over to REKT. REKT is brought to you by CryptoCloaks. Check them out, cryptocloaks.com, and their new address for Europe, cryptocloaks.co.uk. Use the PlebUnderground code for 5% off on awesome 3D prints, such as the 3D printed honey badger, where you could store a signing device, or maybe you want to store your open dime in one of the Bitcoin grenades. That's right. I got the kind of yellow purple one, or green purple one. It kind of looks yellow green. I'm not really sure. Or, of course, there's always the HODL and Nod helmet, which certain percentage of the proceeds go to defendingbtc.com. Check them out, cryptocloaks.com. For REKT, we got a couple of stories. The first one is just goes to show, right? We're not doing anything. We're not doing anything revolutionary with ordinals and inscriptions. Here we go. We got a tweet out of at Young Gucci T. I didn't make this one, but it goes hard. A WebEP that says "shit monkey JPEG." That's right, guys. That's right. This is what people are choosing to store on the most secured ledger in human history. Yeah.
I kind of like it because it's a troll on the retards. So let's go.
It is. It was. Look. It was. That's why I chose it. Right. It was kind of bittersweet. It's kind of bittersweet. Anyways. Let's continue on. Just a quick follow up on the FTX news that's been going on. That's a tweet out of Meta lawman Walton. Steph, I don't know if you guys saw this. Breaking news on FTX bankruptcy. The FTX judge denied the U.S. trustee's motion to appoint an independent examiner. If this ruling is allowed to stand, there's going to be no credible investigation of the third parties who may have enabled one of the largest frauds in U.S. history. Now, before we get into the main story of REKT, I want everyone to really think about this. Once again, we're seeing a system where winners and losers are being picked. And it doesn't make a difference that the truth is out there. These people don't seem to get punished. I mean, anyways.
It's crazy. I mean, it's from bittersweet to a bitter tweet we had there, Phil. And this guy, Like he's every right to feel bitter about this. This sound like I was talking to this same person earlier today about who was asking about how to buy Bitcoin. I said, and I went on a bit of a rant about Sam Bankman-Fried. Like, you know, it's fucking ridiculous, quite frankly, that this guy's, you know, running around having stolen so much money. But I guess if you launder enough for the Democratic Party, you can do whatever the fuck you like.
Hey, you know what? That's actually a very good point. And let me ask you this, Steph. So has any of this stuff from FTX, because in terms of the platform that you're building, has any of this stuff from FTX kind of caused you problems in the sense of, like, let's say, you know, people being like, oh, should I worry, or, you know, using your app or something like that because of that type of stuff? Because I know that there's like a big knowledge gap, right? And people get afraid.
Nope, I didn't get any of this type of feedback, because on Pitch Bitcoin, you're actually buying real Bitcoin. So you're buying and you're self-custody straight to your wallet. So nope, not affected. Don't care.
Awesome. Yeah. I didn't think you would be, but I know that people get really stupid questions, because I've already gotten stupid questions where people are like, is your Bitcoin okay? It's like, what are you talking about? My Bitcoin okay. What are you talking? And that's the scary part. So yeah, that's why I had to ask you about that. Okay.
You're like, what of yours is okay? Like, do you understand how anything you own is protected? No, you don't. If you're asking, is like Bitcoin in self-custody is about the only thing you can like reasonably protect.
We're very early, guys. We're very early, because people actually, I mean, we saw it in the corporate-owned media, you know, that somehow this was bad for Bitcoin, when in fact all it was bad for businesses and bad for certain exchanges, and of course bad for retail bag holders. Anyways, all right, moving on to the main story for REKT, guys. I you know what? I know that CZ has been getting very lucky. CZ seems to be like the slipperiest, right? Seems to be able to navigate everywhere. But there just seems to be more breadcrumbs.
Is he the final boss, do you think, of the shitcoiners? Who's the final boss? I don't know.
He's definitely up there. Steph, before I dive into the story, what are your thoughts? Is he the final boss, the final shitcoin boss?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't really follow all of this. I mean,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't until the show, to be honest.
I don't consider any boss in this shitcoin area, to be honest.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, okay. But we just like laughing at them getting wrecked, to be honest. Like, and it's also like to point out, you know, the buyer beware. You know, don't fuck shitcoins, fuck shitcoins.com. But yeah, don't buy shitcoins. For two reasons. One, you're just helping other people get rich at your expense. Two, because it's embarrassing. And three, I don't have a third. That'll do.
That'll do. All right, let's dive into this train wreck. Here we go. Binance moved $400 million from Binance US account to a firm tied to CZ. We are definitely surprised. Binance was behind the transfer of roughly $400 million in funds from Binance US account to a trading firm managed by CEO Changpeng Zhao. An investigation of Binance's banking records and company messages showed that more than $400 million was sent in a series of transactions in 2021 from an account controlled by Binance.US to trading firm Merit Peak. I have to be honest, this is the first time.
Phil, it's kind of minor league, right? Like, this is like Sam Bankman-Fried was borrowing roughly 10 to 20 times the amount from FTX, sending that to Alameda. Like, come on, CZ. Like, if you're going to be such a shitcoiner, like, up your fraud game. This is embarrassing. Sam did way better. Like, stop fucking around.
Yeah, SBF was like, hold my beer. You know, like he's like, let me show you what we can do here. All right, let's continue on. A Binance US spokesperson said Merit Peak was neither trading nor providing any kind of services on the Binance US platform, and that only the exchange's employees had access to its bank accounts. Funds were stored by Binance.US doing business as BAM Trading Services at Silvergate. Oh, interesting, right? We've all heard of Silvergate.
Wait, as in
Silvergate's a crypto bank?
DCG's Silvergate, the one that borrowed $4.5 billion from the
Hmm.
Fed this year?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, in the traditional markets, Silvergate right now is being shorted really hard. Like 60% of the float is held short. So that, just to make it simple for people, that means that a massive amount of the shares that are out on the market are being bet that it's going to go down. Anyways, not that makes a difference, but I just think that it's all very interesting, right? Because we know that there's traditional banking that we know that there's traditional banking institutions that are involved in this, and we haven't seen that part start to show itself and fall apart yet. Anyways, I'll finish this up. The report dropped amid Binance publishing a blog post titled "Building Trust in the Ecosystem." This is the irony of this, right? In which the exchange says customer assets should only be used in the ways that the customers have explicitly authorized. So guys, this is the absolute puppet show of sight and sound that we see, right? You've got CEO CZ who sits there and always tries to take the high ground, but in the meantime, the business in the background is doing totally shady crap, and yet they are publishing in their blog that, hey, we need to be transparent and we need to be protecting the retail investor.
Phil, and this is why they all recently met up at Ravencoin Grandmaster Bruce Fenton's conference over in Dubai, the capital of fiat, where a whole bunch of rich shitcoiners sat down at an exclusive invitation-only event. Probably to discuss how they're gonna, do insider trading, how they're gonna pump and dump a whole range of stuff. Because now that the latest lot blew up a bunch of scams, then they lose some retail investors, and so they have to work out ways to attract new gamblers. Sports markets are the ones they're going after, right? We saw FTX, of course, they've collapsed, but we saw also Crypto.com and others move into sponsoring competitive sports in North America and in Europe, because you then get the eyes of sports fans who are looking to gamble. So it's a very, very lucrative market for them. But yeah, we won't see exactly what goes on behind the scenes at these secret, not secret meetings, but invitation-only meetings. Bruce, it's embarrassing, to be honest. Like you are an advocate for Bitcoin. You're trying to now run for some U.S. senator position. Like, stop being such a fucking shitcoiner. Like, really, like, fuck off with that shit. It's just nonsense, and I'm sorry, like, mum at home, like, I know I swear too much on this show, so sorry, but like, it's just fucking disgusting what these people do, and the only way that you can avoid them having the power that they do is to not play with shitcoins, retard. So guys, just buy Bitcoin, take it into self-custody, use your own node to verify it's real, and you're good. Like, you've got a specific cut of the best thing there is probably ever been invented by humans. Probably.
So Steph, reading through this made me think, have you been approached by shitcoiners to try to essentially get your app to support their shitcoins?
No, I think a few guys asked about Monero, but that's it so far. No, a few guys asked about Monero, and I had another one, I think, who reached out in DM saying that he wants to build a pitch for whatever shitcoin. I don't even remember the name. But that's all. That was funny. I was like, go ahead.
You should say, yeah, he can have it as long, but he has to call it beach.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, this is just this is par for the course. I think that, you know, kind of Binance is maybe the last exchange to start falling apart. I know that the SEC has started to turn its eye on Binance US. So I'm pretty sure that we are going to be hearing other terrible stuff that's going to come out of there. Anyways, we are going to move on over to the Hopium.
Up next, we have the Hopium, sponsored by Represent. Represent are owned by a Bitcoiner. They are an incredible brand, making some of the finest garments money can buy, or even debt can buy. Actually, they take your dirty fiat too, and you can get 10% off all of their goodies with the code pleb-underground, pleb-underground. Once again, that's representltd.com. Check them out. Please support Bitcoin-only businesses. Okay, guys, so we have two stories on Hopium this week. The first, I thought kind of a funny one. So the first story on Hopium, some guy was able to pay for his local public transport with Bitcoin. Now, like, I'm personally not a huge fan of local public transport. I think it's mostly a communist hellhole. But I know in some places in the world they have public transport that seems to work. Now, how was this man able to pay in Bitcoin, right? This is a government-owned system. How are they accepting Bitcoin? So he said he tried paying with Swish, which is their digital ID wallet. Well, that sounds like a serious shitcoin, right? Maybe not CBDC just yet, but soon. So this is some payment portal called Swish in Sweden, and it gave him the option to use Blue Wallet, and then showed a real Lightning invoice. And apparently, I read a bit more, and he was confused. Like, it didn't seem to make sense. It was like, what's going on with this story? But what it seemed to be was that someone had sort of hacked the system to enable, and it was with a premium, right? To enable people to pay in Bitcoin, and then he was essentially paying the fiat or something like that. So he'd set up like some guy had somehow like hacked their system to add on like a little front end to take people's Bitcoin for a public service at a premium, and then buy their bus ticket or whatever. I think that's fucking cool. I don't even know how that sort of thing's possible. Like, is it really all that impactful? Right now, no, probably not. But I think it's pretty cool. And I think, I don't know. I think there's going to be all these sorts of things. I think, and I'm trying to illustrate a larger point here, which is that the subterfuge essentially might be from inside. Eventually, you might have, real government employees deciding to deploy this properly. Right now, this isn't what happened, but maybe at some point this kind of thing, does happen. And I think as governments wise up to the fact that more and more wealth is stored in Bitcoin, they're going to want to attract Bitcoiners. They're going to want to collect Bitcoin themselves, and so it is something that will happen in the long term. We know there are some places in the world where you can pay taxes in Bitcoin. What a disgusting concept! But still, there are places, some states that accept Bitcoin, and that's only going to grow.
I'm just thinking about the because as you were explaining that, it got me thinking about one of the chokeholds that we have in terms of retail, right? Like, essentially, when you go to pay for something, there's a whole menu of all these different ways that.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, Phil, but when you said chokehold, I thought you were going back to Valentine's Day for a second there.
What? No, we're not going back to Valentine's Day. No Valentine's Day chokeholds. Okay. What we're talking about is payment systems, right? And we're talking about specifically the point of sale terminal that appears for you when you are at a retailer, and the difficulty of getting Bitcoin to show up there. So I understand what you're saying about that, and I think that I agree with you in terms of the Hopium, because that, I think, is one of our barriers to entry. Like, the sooner the sooner that we can get a payment option as a default in retail locations, I think that we are going to see, obviously, I'd like to believe that we are going to see more people wanting to get familiar with Bitcoin and wanting to.
I agree. It's exactly that, Phil, because people say, "Oh, but why does it matter? Like, where can I even spend my Bitcoin?" And if you can point to the fact that actually, like, all of their transport services, public transport services, could be paid with Bitcoin, like that's quite a big, quite a big deal if you live in a city or other well-connected places.
Bitcoin, you kind of need to be on a Bitcoin standard. Like, you spend Bitcoin if you get paid in Bitcoin in a way. Otherwise, you don't really spend Bitcoin.
Or you don't choose to use credit cards. Like right now, in general, I will use credit cards only because I'm delaying the point at which I actually have to kind of pay the fiat for it. But if you're not using credit, if you're opting out of using fiat credit, which I think some people are, then maybe you would choose to maybe even buy and spend Bitcoin rather than just spend it. I mean, certainly in the US, people are using Strike to do that, right? You don't have to have Bitcoin. You can just kind of buy and send it immediately. And so the kind of the tax side of things, the accounting side of things isn't a headache, etc.
Yeah, and a use case is also when you're traveling. Like, it's so fucking much easier to pay in Bitcoin than to look for the local currency in the country you are, figuring out the coins, blah blah blah. I mean,
yeah, it's like all your buddies are suddenly like ATMs for the local currency. Like when I went to Miami, it's like I can just kind of send people sats on Lightning and they give me some dollars like cash. Like and like these things are easy, right?
Exactly.
And they'd rather have your Bitcoin than their cash. So it's like, sure, you can send me Satoshis. I'll give you this.
We have one further story, and I think this is very exciting. And I saw this just a couple hours ago before the show. Of course, we record Friday nights. You guys will be seeing this on Monday. But here, first, hopefully breaking news, but probably not by Monday. Zeus, which is one of my absolute favorite apps, the premier mobile app for controlling your node. It does coin control. You can change. You can set fee rates on channels, but you can do a whole bunch of stuff. Like it's a very impressive app. But now they decided they're gonna do something really really cool. And I say really really cool. Some people probably won't like this, but I think it's really cool. Enabling custodial accounts. So the wording, I'll read the wording. They say, custodial accounts now available in Lightning Terminal and accessible via Lightning Node Connect. Great way to onboard non-technical friends and family. Works today with the latest use. Some UI refinements for this coming in the next version, blah, blah. Okay, so I reply to kind of cut through this. Does this mean, I say, so we can be WAS to FNF? What I mean here, we can be Wallet of Satoshi to our family and friends? Like we don't need to kind of, for an ease of use app, we can actually just get them to download Zeus and we can be their wallet Satoshi. And Evan, who's the lead developer on this app, he says, yeah, so you don't have to let them get rugged by strangers. Play your part. I think this is pretty huge, right? If you can enable the ease of use instant Bitcoin, which is Lightning, mobile first, in a way that is what's the word? Enables users to gradually take more responsibility for their Bitcoin in probably the best way, right? Something where you can help them out if it goes wrong, but also they have some control, right? I mean, we say, not your keys, not your coins, and if it's custodial, then it's not really your keys, right? But nonetheless, they'll be able to kind of use Bitcoin in a way that is custodial, but I guess kept within the family, which to me is a much better solution than using some unknown Lightning custodian of unknown origin.
Yeah, Walton, I'm definitely bullish on that. I think that you're gonna get you're gonna get the argument, right? You're gonna get the argument from people, about the custodian, and I think you're gonna get the argument of, well, if they're not self-custodying, then it's not really Bitcoin, and you're gonna hear
Well, it is because it's in your
agreed,
it's on your node, right? It's on.
agreed, but
Well, not on your node, but the keys are on the node, right? Like you've got the keys for them.
how there's always the nuance, right? Like there's always the people that are like, well, yeah, sure, it's held by your family, but how can you trust that person? No, they're your family.
No, you can't. But it's one step better. Like it's not the perfect thing. What I'm saying, the whole point was it's meant to be a path on an educational journey that you're helping them along. It's meant to be a stepping stone. Is my view on this.
Yes.
And I think a potentially very useful stepping stone.
So I think that's exactly the point, right? Is that whether people want to accept it or not, like we can bitch about it, but at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is that one of the biggest hurdles, once you start talking to somebody about Bitcoin, the next step is self-custody. You start talking to them about running their own node, installing software, maybe getting a signing device. Like, yeah, to us, that's no problem. But that's not going to be no problem to everyone. So I completely agree with you that this is absolutely a stepping stone in the right direction that gets them comfortable with having Bitcoin. And then at that point, they can then learn to maybe self-custody. So yeah, I totally agree with you, but you know how it goes. You're always going to hear that, well, they're not really Bitcoining then, because my purity test. So.
Look, I've got plenty of autism, and to those people I say, go fuck yourself, quite frankly. Understand that yes, there is nuance, but also understand that people are on journeys and you need to help them along, and not everyone has the same journey, and not everyone is confident making the same jumps that other people are comfortable making. If you really want to help advance self-custody, maybe help help yourself by considering some stepping stones to give greater confidence to people that you're trying to progress in that self-custody journey.
Steph, any thoughts on this before we close out Hopium?
No, not really. I mean, we decided to go full self-custodial at Pitch, and I think that's the way to go, in my opinion. At least for us, in our case.
All right, everyone. That was the end of our show for this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check us out on our audio-only platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. If you want to stream us sats through Breeze. You could check us out on fountain.fm. ProofOfSteph, it was absolutely awesome having you on the show. How can people find you? How can they find Peach?
Thank you so much for having me again. pitchbitcoin.com and pitchbitcoin on Twitter.
Absolutely awesome. All right, Walton, how do we close this one out?
Fuck shitcoins.
That's a good one.
Catch you all next time.